Hello, everyone. Welcome to this latest episode of That's Fair Podcasting. I'm your host, Matt.
It's your boy. Bing, 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 bing.
That's Myles. And we are actually going to go over Ed and Lorraine Warren and some of their 10 best, weirdest cases.
Yeah, all fake.
We all know
all
them.
fake.
We all
fake.
love them.
All
It
fake.
is Ed and Lorraine Warren.
And when it comes to ghost hunters, they're the greatest of all time. Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous ghost hunters and demonologists, so to speak. Before we actually get into this, we're going to briefly cover their 10 most famous cases.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on these two people, though? Honestly.
Honestly,
Go
I
ahead.
think out of cinematics, I guess, if that's the right word,
Mhm.
I think they were real trailblazers, if you will. You know,
Okay.
because they actually took it to a place of, yes, Hollywood, obviously,
Oh yeah.
but more than that, it was like an actual opening to legit scientific, even if it wasn't scientific proof in the paranormal, while having some kind of media output and backing to it, which was always super cool.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
Very good. Very
yeah.
good.
Honestly,
So here's my thing with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Okay, is I think realistically, I do believe potentially that a lot of this did happen.
allegedly.
Allegedly, but hear me out, right? When was the time frame that they were doing all this again? 70s, 80s?
Yeah, it starts in the late 60s and pretty much goes into the early 90s.
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so
Like their life, you know.
so
In their primes,
Yeah.
So before we got super developed in medicine and understanding the brain and shit,
Sure.
Mhm.
hear me out. What if
Sure,
a lot of
sure.
this? What if a lot of this just came down to them? These guys were just real good at selling shit, right?
I mean,
they
yeah.
were just real good at selling shit, and they collect their money and they walk away like, that motherfucker just had fucking Tourette's.
Yeah, for real.
He's got the devil in him. Look at him. He fucking flinching out of nowhere.
But a big thing too, though, is they weren't medical professionals. They
No,
weren't,
not at all.
You
Not
know,
at all.
they were just they were
Yeah,
literally
no.
just two.
They had
couple-
titles.
Yeah, it
they
was-
had titles. I mean,
No, I know.
Ed Warren was considered a self-proclaimed demonologist,
Yeah.
while Lorraine was a clairvoyant.
But,
Mm.
yeah, but
Like
where
a-
do you
like
go
a
to-
medium.
Where do you go to get paid to do that shit? You know what I mean? You have to have some type of following.
But at the same
Well,
time,
and they did.
At the same
Exactly,
time,
yeah.
for people to embellish the fact that yes, maybe the paranormal does exist,
Mhm.
or think about it. It could have been as far as or as small, I guess I should say, as like grandma just died, and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
these people can talk to ghosts, bro.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It could be
Yeah.
something as small as that, and
They
I don't
just
think it
look
always
around the
has-
house like that's an urn, that's the date. All right, cool. Grandma just died recently.
Yeah.
I'm sensing.
Exactly.
They just analyze the fucking room,
Yeah.
read the situation, look up the obituary on your family before showing up, and they're like,
Very.
I'm sensing you had a family member named
Deborah.
yeah, and Deborah was
They're like, no. Dorothy, no.
5'8".
Delane, no.
Six-pack.
Demetra, yes. I knew it started with a D. It was a D.
It started with a D. But
A quick biography is that they formed the largest ghost hunting group out of New England in 1952.
Solid place too. Rich in
So yeah,
culture.
back in the 50s now, not even the 60s. Ed Warren Miney was his name, I think. Is that Miney? I can't even remember writing. Ed Warren Miney. He was born September 7th of 1926. Lorraine Warren born January 31st of 1927. Again, Ed was a self-taught and self-professed demonologist, author, and lecturer. Lorraine claimed to be clairvoyant and a trance medium, as they formed a perfect union between the two. You know, and as you know, clairvoyancy. If those who don't know exactly what it is, it's one who claims to have the supernatural ability to see events of the future.
clairvoyant.
Yes.
Yes.
So they authored a lot of books, and then of course everyone is familiar with The Conjuring, Annabelle, and The Nuns. You know, all based on There's stuff. Just a quick run around, and then I get you guys' opinions on these. The first one, the Perron family. In 1970, the Perron family moved into a farmhouse in Rhode Island. Carolyn, Roger, and 5 children. And I think this is where the first conjuring takes place.
Yep.
All witnessed a tall woman in a gray dress roaming around the house not long after they moved in. After Ed and Lorraine investigated, they found the woman was a 19th century witch named Bathsheba. Bathsheba had sacrificed her body to the devil before hanging herself from a tree in the backyard. Now, to end this case, Bathsheba... Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, you're good.
No, it's
He's
okay.
just talking shit. It's all right.
Sorry.
Bathsheba fought Carolyn for dominance of the house. As the daughter, Andrea, would always say, Bathsheba hated my mom. Lusting after my father, and she goes, my mom was never literally allowed the rightful position of mistress of the house. Andrea also added, it would be a dominating force, and we fought for a long time. I guess we know who won as we left the house, and the ghost is still there. So that was the first case.
Damn.
Is that considered the Amityville?
No, the Amityville is the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's crazy though? Like, why is it always like a ghost from like the 1800s or the like something crazy, something spooky? Like, why can't
Because these
Yeah.
modern audience ghosts just don't give enough of a shit anymore, man. They're too.
I just want a ghost that I walk into my house, the bathroom door flings open, and it's Brittany, bitch, just whispers down the hallway, bro.
Either
That's what I
that,
want.
either that, or the bathroom door opens up and you hear, "Woo! Do not go in there."
Like a realistic ghost, you know?
I want a realistic ghost. I want a modern day ghost. All right, like there ain't no way I'm following you around this house like. Woo.
I can just see a ghost going.
But like, oh dude, could you imagine? All right, like, hey, who's the girl that the breakdance chick from Australia that went ultra viral? Like, could you imagine if she died and all you do is you walk into your house and you just hear, and you just walk in and you see a
burn
ghost.
the house down.
You just see a ghost breakdancing on your counter. You're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, come on.
Like, did this come with that? Is this free?
Is
This one might be familiar to you. Case number 2.
Yeah.
Annabelle.
Here's the thing.
Never heard of it.
Yes, you have.
I'm
Come
just
on.
kidding.
Okay, like here's the thing for me though is like, why the fuck did they choose that stupid ass doll for
Over
the
a
movie?
Raggedy Ann doll.
I'm sorry, but the Raggedy Ann doll, it was way more horrifying to me in real life.
I think in time, because didn't they make like an older Annabelle movie or no?
No, I don't think so.
Well, because because I didn't know that the Annabelle doll was an actual like Raggedy Ann doll,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a Raggedy Ann.
and it made it more creepy because
Yeah.
everybody fucking had one of those, whether it was the man
Dude,
or
yes.
like the Raggedy Ann.
If you would have shown me a Raggedy Ann doll instead of some stupid ass porcelain fucking cheeked up
I mean,
doll,
like,
no,
Don't get me. What?
her cheeks were all.
Okay.
Looked
Geez.
like
not booty
I
cheeks.
was like,
Looked like
Not
a
booty
half.
cheeks.
Looked like a half geisha prostitute.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm like, what the fuck is
well,
this?
so I grew up. My mom had like dolls and shit,
Yeah.
right? Like she had this giant like china cabinet full of dolls in her room.
Mhm.
And so growing up, like you just like I feel like that's like an actual phobia, right? It's like of dolls or whatever.
without
And so again, having a Raggedy Ann doll, and then seeing the movie portray it as it
a
was,
Raggedy Ann doll,
as like a
yeah.
well, no, like as the doll it had.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, no fucking shit, that thing's creepy.
Oh,
And
by
then
the
it was
way,
creepier when I found out, you know.
Yeah.
Florida had one. We took on our cruise. We took a trip around Key West because that was our last stop in our first cruise ever.
Oh, yeah.
And Robert the doll. I think.
I remember Robert.
Yeah,
Doll. He was one of
Zumundus. Hey, shout out Zumundus podcast. They covered it. Keith and Doolin covered Robert. So guys, check that one out. No, that was back with Zumundo though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Robert the doll, doesn't Zach Baggins have him now?
Yeah.
Robert the doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
All right, real quick though. Annabelle. Ed and Lorraine Warren's home is the occult museum, and a permanent place that they have all these haunted artifacts, including a Raggedy Ann doll named Annabelle, as it is kept in a special protected case. Now, in 1970, this doll was given to a 28-year-old Donna, and shortly after, she and her roommate noticed Annabelle moving around the apartment on her own. Thinking it was a prank, things grew worse as they decided to call in experts. Anyway, long story short, they called in a seance to some seance expert before they got a hold of the Warrens. And, your hat.
Yeah.
It was discovered that a spirit named Annabelle had died when she was 7. Anyway, Ed and Lorraine heard of this, They heard about it. They weren't even called in. They heard about it, and then they decided to go in and investigate.
Oh, this is like with the owner of the doll.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
I was like,
okay.
why would they buy the doll
No.
and then try to get the doll? You know what? That doesn't make sense for me. Okay. Yeah,
but Ed and Lorraine came in and investigated. The two women were dealing with a demonic presence that occupied the doll until it could find a human host. Now, upon witnessing the doll levitate on its own, the women removed the doll permanently, placing it in a case at the house of the Warrens, where they kept it until 2020, when social media started to blow up that rumors of Annabelle escaping. But later, that rumor of escape turned out to be a hoax.
Yeah.
What's crazy though is like, how does a 7-year-old become so vindictive and evil?
Well, yeah. Well, that's when they turn around and said, "Okay, it's not a 7-year-old.
During
it's an actual
Supernatural,
demon now."
Supernatural would tell you they're just vengeful spirits.
No. Have you going back to Zach? Fucking love Ghost Adventures. There's the episode where they bring in the Annabelle doll.
Yeah, I remember that. And like nothing fucking happened.
Yeah, so nothing happens, right? But Zach's all like real close to it, and like the guy like wore gloves, like brought it in a fucking suitcase. Like they're like, do not touch the fucking doll. That's the only rule they had.
Yeah.
And in the video, did you see Zach? And he's just like, so it's like sitting on this chair, and its legs are hanging over, and he goes. And like touches it, bro. And they're like, Zach, what the fuck, dude? Like,
I would.
Okay. Zach always did the weirdest shit.
Yeah, dude, he's a goofy man.
Sorry, man. I just don't know how much time. I'm just trying to.
Oh, you're good.
They're very short cases.
No,
That's
you're fine.
Party on.
It's all right.
No, we're the Snedeker House. That's the last name, Snedeker.
That's a hell of a last name.
In 1986, the Snedeker family moved from New York to Connecticut to be closer to their elder son, who had cancer in the hospital nearby.
Mm.
The home that they purchased on Meridian Avenue in Southington was a former funeral home, right? And it says, after complete renovations, they decided to enter the basement for the first time. They found embalming equipment and a lot of body bags that had previous dead people's name on them.
Mm.
Now, demons were believed to begin terrorizing them. Buckets of mop water would turn to a blood red, lights would go on and off, and even the lights would flicker, but there was no actual bulbs in the fixtures, according to reports. Yeah. Ed and Lorraine performed an exorcism at the house, which made their family feel safer. No other occurrences have happened with the Snedekers, and they moved out 2 years later to Tennessee, and now this home is privately owned, even though it's often a tourist attraction.
My question is, too, is sorry, I know that you got a lot to get.
No, go ahead, man.
But it's just a factor.
I'm almost halfway through.
It's just a factor of like whether it's like a personal like attachment or whether it's like the property itself.
Well, they have different hauntings. They're called residual hauntings, which tend to be connected, or you have like intelligent hauntings.
Yeah. And so my biggest thing too is like, okay, so they go through with this exorcism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they're just good. They're just chill after that. They hung out for 2 more fucking years before dipping out. You know what I mean?
Obviously, exorcisms are meant to ward them off permanently, because then once you bless it, then the evil is not allowed to return.
Yeah. Which is crazy too, because like whether it's like personal or like residential or whatever, like it just works regardless.
This time, Mr. Person. Yeah. Okay. This was another one. This was the Conjuring Deuce. The Enfield Haunting. This is probably my favorite one, next to the Amityville Horror. The Enfield Haunting, London, England, from 1977 to 1979.
This one was good.
Yep. Single mom Peggy Hodgson and her 2 daughters.
I watched this one.
Yeah. Margaret and Janet. Margaret 13, Janet 11. Experienced furniture being thrown around, small objects flying around the room, yada yada, pictures falling off.
And casual haunting, you know?
Yeah,
that was the old
just
man
the
one.
cash.
That
one was creepy as shit.
They'd wake up and be levitating while they woke up out of their beds. Neighbors and journalists and police even came and witnessed some of this. Okay, witnessed it.
Not just hearsay.
Yeah, Janet began speaking with a deeper, older, masculine voice, which was believed to be a spirit of an old man. The press blew this way out and started saying that this family was just seeking attention, even calling the 2 kids attention seekers. Now,
that's the press for you.
Yep. Lastly, Ed and Lorraine arrived after investigating, claim it was demonic possession. Janet would admit she played with a Ouija board before this all began to happen, and she was aware of her, is that trances and blackouts? Yes, I read my own writing. All right.
Not the Luigi board.
The Luigi board. The family continued to live in the house. And
it's me, a ghost.
people would all try to debunk the story as time went on, as many people said that it was bullshit. And but the daughter Janet still to this day says it was possession, and even though the mother Peggy would finally pass away in 2003. According to the report, she passed away in the same chair that the old man passed away in.
What?
Yeah.
Creepy, bro.
Mm-hmm. Let me just fly through this one.
That one was creepy.
Were you a Christian? No. What year did you die? Do you remember?
Short one.
Yeah.
The Donovan family. Early 1970s, Ed and Lorraine met with a terrified Donovan family at their home. Upon arrival, the Warrens, it's my writing, heard loud pounding from inside the walls. The wallpaper was peeling and the water was running and turning red with a very foul odor around the house. After a series of questions by the Warrens of possibly possessing any items from past family members who had moved on to the other side, youngest daughter Patty admitted to using a Ouija board, that's 2 in a row now, to commune with a teenage boy who died 10 years prior, so not in the 1800s.
Okay.
Who died 10 years prior. The spirit never revealed their name, and the Warrens claimed it was demonic possession disguised as a boy. Lastly, the woman contacted a priest after a house exorcism. Life returned to normal in the house, and one of Ted Donovan's brothers said, and I quote, "I nor anyone else in my family have ever before witnessed anything so weird and terrifying."
That's fair. I think when you get like a more realistic human side to it, where you're just like, bro, I got nothing to lose by lying about this. You know what I mean? So it's like when you don't have anything to lie in, it's like legit.
You just walk out to the camera. It's like, do you see the bags under my eyes? Do you think I'm bullshitting right now?
Tired of this shit.
This motherfucker does not let me sleep. All right.
I'm gonna skip this one.
Okay.
It's the Smurl family in 1974, and they were ultimately, I think, saved by the Lorraine and Ed.
Yeah.
But the murder demonic possession trial. This one's a fucking trip.
That one is crazy.
This was the devil made me do it.
Yeah.
Yes. 19-year-old Arnie Johnson stabbed his landlord to death in 1981. Alan Bono was the landlord. He was stabbed with a pocket knife more than 20 times, and at that time it had been the first murder in Brookline, Connecticut in 193 years.
Holy shit.
Shortly prior, Arnie moved in with his girlfriend and her younger brother, David, who claimed he was being harassed by a demon, with the girlfriend's family contacting the Warrens. An exorcism would be conducted on David, which allegedly expelled 42 demons from this boy's body. During the exorcism, Arnie even asked a demon, provoking it to enter his body. And in a month later, following no issues for that month, he murdered his landlord. In court, Arnie's defense claimed he wasn't guilty due to demonic possession, not insanity. Demonic possession, which they admit it was admissible. Arnie would get first-degree manslaughter, and he would get 20 years serving 5 with good behavior.
You know what would happen in today's society? They'd be like, "No, dude, you had a psychotic break, and you're going to the patent house."
I didn't eat it. It's just bad vape. It's a bad vape.
The strawberry was not strawberrying.
This is a good one.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Union, and I'm almost done.
No, you're good.
And we can discuss the Warrens. Union Cemetery, Easton, Connecticut, one of the most haunted cemeteries in the U.S., with eyewitnesses claiming the lady in white. Known to be walking in front of cars at night during their drive around Route 59. Drivers were concerned they'd hit her. They would stop and exit their vehicles to find out that there was absolutely no one there. The white lady is what they called her because people claimed she was in a long white gown or dress. I just think they were racist.
Yeah, maybe.
In 1990, so closer now, Ed and Lorraine set up cameras in the cemetery to document their investigation, and after 2:40 a.m., they heard the sound of a crying woman. A female form manifest going towards them, and Ed Warren approached her, and she vanished. To this day now, the cemetery closes at sunset because of all that.
Sure.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well, that's pretty crazy.
How much money would you have to get paid an hour to work in a cemetery at night?
Not enough. There's not enough.
It's the safest place to be. Everyone's already dead.
I mean, like $90 an hour. Sound all right?
I mean, it depends on what I got to do.
I'd make $25 an hour. Safest place in the world. Everyone's already dead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I didn't even know about this one.
What's up?
The demon werewolf in London.
Okay.
Yeah, you heard it.
Okay.
Bill Ramsey is allegedly proof werewolf exists. Right?
Interesting.
He was born in Southend-on-Sea, England. You heard that, right? Bill said as a child he experienced a strange rage, a powerful anger that came over him, and he could uproot an entire fence by ripping it out of the ground. You heard it. During adulthood, he claimed his face would transform into a wolf's face and his hands into claws. The Warrens would arrive in London after a police officer claimed to be attacked by this werewolf.
It almost sounds like that one story that we did, too, about the werewolf in that city.
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Defiance, Ohio. Ed Warren said, quote, "This was the first case of lycanthropy we ever experienced. I interviewed the police officers, and they said this man attacked them. Bill was only 5'7" and 150 pounds, but he threw these officers, who are all well over 6 feet, around like rag dolls."
All the time. Remember what I said earlier, Mark? All the time.
In 1989, the Warrens convinced Bill to go to their church and undergo an exorcism, during which Bill's face contorted, and he launched at the priest with rage. Then, before he reached the priest, the exorcism would be a success, and Bill no longer shifts into a lichen.
So that one's interesting.
That is weird.
I feel like
they should have ran with that one. That one's a good little offbeat story.
Yeah, that is a neat little offbeat story. But could you just imagine you're just some dude in London, and you're like, you know what? These people are getting famous. I'm gonna blame this on demonic possession of a werewolf, bro.
A demonic possessed werewolf.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just started chasing the mailman.
Dude, my tail's looking weird now. They're like, what tail? You're like, what tail?
And it's weird because every time I lick myself, I fall off the couch.
Jesus.
Anyway, the last one.
Is that what that smell is?
The last one, and everyone's familiar with it, the Amityville Horror.
Yes, sir.
November. We covered this one too, just a separate segment on this.
Yeah, we have.
November 13th of 1974 at 3:15 a.m., Ron DeFeo shot and killed his entire family, his parents and his siblings, with a .35 caliber rifle as they all slept peacefully in their beds. And Ron would later tell police, quote, "Once I started, I couldn't stop. It just went so fast." The following year, the Lutz family moved into this house on Ocean Drive in Amityville, New York. A priest would be called in to bless the house, and he warned the family, no matter what, do not use the upstairs as a bedroom. Do not let anyone ever sleep there. Days after, it was evident something was terribly wrong in this house. Their youngest daughter made an imaginary friend with a red-eyed pig, with putrid smells beginning to manifest through every room of the house.
I guess I haven't watched this movie yet.
Yeah, it's fucking
Dude,
good.
it's fucking gnarly.
The furniture began levitating, and banging throughout the house started when the Lutz finally left the home and leaving everything they possessed inside.
You mean everything the ghost possessed inside?
Just
kidding. Anyways.
I don't get it. Anyway.
I wouldn't expect you to. You look pretty smooth-brained.
Thank you. Ed and Lorraine, discovering that allegedly the land had once been owned by a practitioner
There you go.
of black magic, and he once requested to be buried on the property, and still to this day he is. Kathy Lutz said, quote, "Things of this nature happen quite frequently, and when they happen to families, they usually close the door and they don't get talked about. Unless things are talked about in the open, they'll never be understood."
No.
Valid.
Now, the Lutzes were found to be total frauds. And I'm not saying Ed and Lorraine, but the Lutzes in the Amityville Horror, they wrote this big novel, and they turned out to be frauds.
Oh, okay. I'd say I didn't look into that. I didn't do the research, so don't be mad at me. But no, okay, so here's the thing though. That's what I'm saying is I feel like some of this can be real, and then some of it's faked out. There's one episode that I completely remember on. We're jumping back to Ghost Adventures here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
That's what it's about.
So Zach Baggins, he has this entire team dedicated to going to I want to say it was almost they were going to go to Scotland and investigate a fucking castle, right? And instead they accepted some woman somewhere here in the States and her family's distress calls, and you could tell that they were just trying to do a money grab, dude, because all of the scratches that were on her back were clearly from her. She was a bigger girl, and so the only way she could scratch was through the center of her back down, right? Like she couldn't get the absolute center and like real scratches. All the scratches
Right,
looked
fuck
like
you.
they were self.
I can't even touch my bag.
But like, yeah, you can. You just got bad shoulders. But like,
I had, my aunt once had such a big ass that like if she had a wallet in her back pocket, she could just reach over her shoulder and say, "Hey, this is my wallet."
but like,
Oh my god, cake.
so like I think some of
She
it.
got gams.
I think some of it could potentially be like, fake, but some of it's potentially real.
Yeah,
I agree. I completely agree.
Well,
but
I mean,
like,
okay, like you said too. Like you have this world phenom, this couple, right? That the whole world knows is doing their whole gig, right?
and this is
why,
probably
why
like,
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you
and
try
this
to
is
fabricate something?
Yeah, and this is an original thing,
Sure.
right? For them,
Yeah.
right? They're kind of the ones that kind of pioneered
They
this.
did.
Yeah.
They
So-
absolutely did.
Excuse me. So for instance, yeah, you want a piece of your 15 minutes, right?
Sure.
That's probably what the last family wanted.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like next thing we know, he's gonna be trying to fucking fight.
They already said Muhammad Ali with some smelling salts and
Well-
a good heater.
It's funny too that like none of those stories were like the whole nun thing. Like the
No,
Yeah, what was up with that?
I don't know. I didn't get into. That didn't reach. I mean, that was just. It was supposed to be 10, but I don't think I only covered 9 of them.
yeah,
It really was. I think the nun could be more of a fabrication,
maybe.
but I don't know, man. I think that you have a 50-50 split, roughly,
like-
as far
like-
as people who believe and people who don't. Like, let's ask our listeners a question.
Yeah.
By the way, if you follow us on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the page.
Yes. So like one thing for me though that I kind of want to point out here though, that we were kind of just chatting about like 2 seconds prior. It had to do with help me out here. Go back, rewind.
The Amityville Horror, the Lutzes.
No, not that far back. Just literally like right before I started talking.
Whether we believed it was real or not.
I suppose. No, I don't know. I fucking lost my train of thought again. But like,
It's so easy to do
Yeah,
because we
it
all have
is.
points. Yeah.
yeah, it is. But like,
Was it like that Baggins dude?
The
no,
nun.
it's not. No, the nun.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, like. How is it that you just learn that you have to just say the demon's name backwards and it's just over with?
Yeah, true.
Like that for
was
me,
weird.
that
was
that
kind of
shit-
weird.
That shit seems like that to me seems like somebody was writing a fucking story and just got bored and was like, you know what, fuck it, I don't know how to kill this demon. Say their name backwards and you're good.
No, they
You know what I
probably
mean?
put
Like-
something under their tongue. Fuck, man. Dude, I gotta say the demon's name backwards. So, like,
Dude.
I don't know, man. His
That-
name's Radar. So say Radar backwards, man.
All I'm
Radar.
all I'm saying is like, could you imagine, right? Like, just like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's just like, you know what? Somebody was like, you know what? I don't know how to conclusively close this story. Just.
Do you guys
No.
remember? Do you guys remember the demon's name? Don't say it.
No, I
You
don't.
can't say it.
No, I don't. Actually.
Okay.
No.
Ryan Reynolds.
Van Milder.
It started with a V. Yeah.
Wait. Oh, Vivek or some
No.
shit like that.
No,
What
you
was
don't
it? Say it. It's make believe.
No, it's not.
Velveeta.
No, cheese. No, it was Valak.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
say it in reverse now so that we don't get possessed demonically later.
Kalev?
Galev.
Yeah, there you go. All right, look. So you're saying, look at that.
but-
We literally just ended live on air. All right, we just ended the fucking
I was going crazy.
thing. Yeah, Matt. I swear, Matt's hair went gray again.
But no, yeah, really though,
I don't have hair.
some of the biggest stories in that field though.
But you know,
come from
I think that
couple.
like listeners, like on Spotify and stuff, not necessarily the YouTubers, but like listeners, do us a favor, man. How many of you believe in this and how many of you don't? I'd like to know because I think it's roughly a 50-50 split
Yeah,
on people
100%.
that believe. I mean,
I just want to clarify: if we got ghosts and we got aliens in our oceans, I think we definitely got demonic possession.
and that's next, guys.
Well,
the next subject is
I-
aliens in our ocean.
I brought this up to Matt too, and it was like on Lucifer, right? And it was a saying that it was back in like the 90s when Lucifer like outlawed or banned like demonic possession of humans. And so I think it's funny too, like maybe that's like the decrease in activity that we see in like in the media and stuff is just the fact
Yeah.
that like what if they're not even allowed to?
again-
Satan's just like, you know what? I've been trying to get rid of these motherfuckers for years now, and you motherfuckers just have guys that read fucking books and figure out my fucking puzzles,
and
and
they
you
just-
send these
you just
assholes
send
back
them right
down
back.
here.
I mean, I think the Vatican didn't realize that what you were looking at in demonic possession was just paranoid schizophrenia with Tourette's on top of it. And I mean, if you combine
Maybe,
those
yeah.
two, man, then you'll have The Exorcist. Your mother sucks cocks in hell. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt's borderline, right? You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, I just had a moment.
yeah. That wasn't even
But they have a
senior
Vatican
moment.
hotline. It's I don't know, 1-800. Go fuck yourself.
Oh, that's the one.
1-800 praise hands.
But yeah, guys, I think that the Ed and Lorraine, before we close it out, because it's about to close it out real quick, guys, and you guys can throw it into. I think Ed and Lorraine had some legit things about it.
Yes, I agree.
I think that they started out hot and heavy, and then they slowly
Maybe washed out a little bit.
Yeah, they slowly washed out, and that's why we got the other stuff.
Yeah,
I think it became more of a mainstream show.
more like a
I think that they
hit for pop culture.
Well, and they died. I mean, like he died in 2006, complications of a stroke, not heart, and then she passed away peacefully in 2019. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace.
Rest in peace to
Ed and Lorraine.
and everyone they've ever helped that didn't make it. Rest in peace to you all.
And thank you, because you guys brought us not only ghost adventures, but ghost hunters and so many more things that you pioneered.
And we are outro.
Bye.
That's what I mean.